Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big topics. Today, we're digging into a really weird paradox right at the heart of the American job market, and we're using a fantastic report from Harvard Business School to help us figure it out.
It's a question that, honestly, stumps a lot of people. Economists, regular folks looking for work, you name it. On one side, you hear companies saying they can't find people. On the other, millions of Americans are desperate for a good job. The answer to this puzzle reveals a really deep crack in our economy.
Okay, so let's get some hard numbers on the table. Back in August 2014, you had 9.6 million people in America who were unemployed and actively looking for a job.
But here's the crazy part. At that exact same time, companies had 4.8 million open jobs that they just couldn't fill. I mean, that is a massive, massive disconnect.
All right, so where's the breakdown? What's going on here? Well, the report we're looking at points its finger at a specific market failure that's hitting hardest in what's known as the middle skills sector.
So what are middle skills jobs? You know these jobs. They're the ones that require more than a high school diploma, but you don't necessarily need a full 4-year college degree. Think computer technicians, registered nurses, skilled machinists. For decades, these were the backbone of the American middle class. But the whole system that's supposed to train people for these really important roles, it's just not working. Not for the workers and not for the employers.
Okay, so how do we start to fix this thing? The Harvard report argues that first, we actually need to change the way we even think about what makes a job valuable in the first place.
And they give this really powerful definition of what U.S. competitiveness should mean. It's not just about corporate profits, no. True competitiveness is when our companies can succeed on a global scale while also making sure the average American has a high and rising standard of living. It's about shared prosperity. You gotta have both.
So it boils down to this. A good job, a really good job, has to check 2 boxes. You have to ask 2 questions. First, does this job create real value for the business and the economy? And second, just as important, does this job give the worker a real path forward, a real shot at a better life?
And this is where it gets really interesting. The report lays out this framework almost like a map for jobs. Picture a grid. On one side, going up, you've got value to business. On the other side, going across, you have career lifetime value for the worker. And that top right corner, that's the sweet spot. Those are the jobs we really need to be creating and filling.
So, what happens when you start putting actual jobs on this map? Well, you get some things you'd expect, but also some big surprises. Of course, computer and tech jobs are up there in that sweet spot. But you know what else is? Technical sales and sales management, and healthcare practitioners. But then you look at general production jobs, and you see they often end up way down on the career lifetime value scale, even if they're important for the business.
So this whole framework is super useful because it helps us bust some big myths about the job market. It really shows us which jobs are true career pathways and which ones, well, might just be dead ends.
I mean, you hear this all the time, right? Let's bring back manufacturing. It's this powerful idea that a factory job is the golden ticket back to the middle class. But is that really true for all of those jobs?
Well, if you look at the data, the picture's a little different. A job like a CNC operator or a welder is absolutely vital for a company, no doubt. But they often have what the report calls a flat career path. That means there's just not a lot of room to move up or see your wages grow much over time. Low career lifetime value.
But on the flip side, some of the jobs we don't talk about nearly as much, those are the hidden opportunities. They can be a way more powerful springboard for a lifelong career.
I mean, just check this out. These technical sales roles, not only are they super important for businesses, but they have clear paths for promotion and for making more money. They are smack dab in the middle of that sweet spot we were just talking about. Okay, so if these great jobs exist, these career pathways, then why are they so dang hard to fill? Well, the problem is what the report calls a broken talent pipeline. So when you ask employers, they say the top 2 reasons are pretty obvious. People don't have the specific training or they don't have the experience. But look at number 3. A third of employers say applicants lack soft skills, things like a good work ethic, ambition, knowing how to communicate. And that is a huge, huge piece of this puzzle. And so what do companies do? This quote from an HR manager really nails it. They see a college degree not just as proof of knowledge, but as proof of maturity, of knowing how to work with people. So they start demanding a bachelor's degree for jobs that, well, don't actually need one. It becomes a screening tool for those soft skills. And the result of this? It's a total mess for hiring.
That simple help desk job that now unnecessarily requires a BA, the data shows it takes a whopping 40% longer to fill. You're just cutting off tons of perfectly good candidates for no good reason.
And this leads to probably the most powerful point in the whole report. Think about it. Companies manage their supply chains for raw materials with military precision. They forecast, they plan, they build relationships. But for their people, their most important asset, they just kind of hope someone good shows up on the spot market. It's crazy. They need to start treating talent with that same supply chain rigor.
So who's going to fix all this? Well, the thing is, it's not on just one group. It's going to take a coordinated effort from all three major players in this whole skills ecosystem.
And the solution comes down to a really simple but powerful idea. Employers have to lead. They're the customer here. They know what they need. Educators have to partner up with them. And policymakers, well, their job is to get out of the way and make it easier for all of this to happen.
So here's the game plan. For employers, start treating talent like a supply chain. Work directly with your local colleges, and for goodness sake, stop requiring degrees you don't need. For educators, line up your classes with what local businesses are actually hiring for, and yeah, that includes teaching those soft skills. And for policymakers, give everyone better, real-time data on jobs and knock down the barriers that stop schools and companies from working together.
So in the end, it all comes down to this one big question we have to ask ourselves. Are we just trying to fill jobs for today, or are we trying to build real career pathways for tomorrow? Answering that question, really answering it, changes everything. It's about what kind of economy we really want to build, one that truly works for everyone.